One of the most handsome, good-looking and masculine-looking pretty boys working in Chinese drama industry right now is paired with Lu Yu Xiao in Love Between Lines, the 28-episode adaptation of web novel Yaji, written by Zhang Zhulei. I did not like the novel that the series is based on. The novel's 92 chapters are available in English on 2 separate sites. The story in the web novel is completely around and in the immersive virtual reality game and its players. The day jobs are standard fare fillers. This is the world of live-action role-playing game. The male lead is a top-ranked NPC, that is, non-playable character not controlled by anyone else, whereas the female lead buys a ticket to get a spot on the game to get closer to him. I did not like either of them in the novel. Hu Xiu, the female lead, is looking for a job as an interpreter, translating Chinese to English, and she lands in a hospital working under surgeons. She has a fiancé who dumps her and her parents are getting divorced. Her father works as a music teacher who calls her mother a, quote, morally bankrupt whore, unquote, in chapter 10, by the way. The 2 things, and there are only 2 things that the drama took from this web novel, are A, the virtual reality or live-action murder mystery setup. It was never clear to me whether they were in an actual game or just role-playing on a large real set because they suggested use of VR in one episode, and a few episodes later it was live-action roleplay. But they took the VR concept from the web novel. The other thing the drama gets right is choosing the actor to play the male lead, which is pretty much how the male lead is described in the web novel. For example, in chapter 10, the female lead Hu Xiu describes the love interest, Qin Xiaoyi, aka Xiao Zhiyu, as, quote, Qin Xiaoyi's face was firmly etched in her memory, a different Qin Xiaoyi from the one in a suit, sharp brow bones and deep-set eyes, thin eyelids and tapered corners shaping a bewitching gaze, large dark pupils flickering like a fawn's, slightly protruding yet perfectly shaped lips that appeared haughty when pressed together, not conforming to a ruler's standard yet intensely distinctive. His jet-black short hair and sharp angles heightened the contrast of his face. Under light and shadow his features were cleanly defined, veiling curiosity about the world with aloofness, gentleness and kindness. In the game he was dazzling. Outside it, he left only silence for others. He truly didn't seem like a boy who belonged in this ordinary urban life. Hu Xiu felt his romantic life must be far more extravagant than imagined. This was a face drawn straight from a comic book, one that could easily attract admiring glances with the slightest indulgence, experience a thrilling roller coaster romance. A gentleman like him would never leave things unfinished. It wouldn't even matter if it ended heartbreakingly. After burying his heartaches to cultivate a more storied face, he still had youth to spare, unquote. In chapter 20, Hu Xiu thinks of him as, quote, the Qin Xiaoyi she saw up close had fair skin and delicate features, sharp cheekbones, and translucent eyes, yet his qualities felt distinctly different, unquote. In chapter 40, his height is measured. Quote, he stood proudly in front of the 184-centimeter mark, that's 6 feet, his smirk in the photo both roguish and mischievous, unquote. She's identified as being 165 centimeters tall, that's 5'4", and in chapter 88 she describes him as, quote, this large camel, astonishing in looks and extraordinary in build, unquote. Well, there you have it. That's the second thing that the drama gets right, getting an actor as per these specifications. The drama has nothing else in common with the web novel, and to call it an adaptation of the written word is wrong. The drama can be split into the real-world work environment and challenges the leads face as co-workers in the field of architecture, designing housing projects, skyscrapers, shops, and parks, and their interactions in the world of virtual reality games or live-action role-playing in which you are transported into a fantasy where you get to experience adventure quest in a different time period and get to be someone else for a few hours. I am allergic to the trope of traveling to past, the transported to past, time travel genre, in which the hero or heroine spends majority of the drama in an unreal setting and is back in the present day only in the last scene of the series, finding the other half in present day as the credits roll in. I also don't like the born-again reincarnation avenging dramas for the same reason, because all of the story and romance occurs in an unreal environment, and later on everyone is transported and reincarnated back in the present day. What's the point of that? For example, I love Ji-sung, the amazing South Korean actor who is currently starring in The Judge Returns as a reborn judge writing past wrongs committed by him. And even though he's wonderful in it, charming as always, it is a boring, been there, seen a million times drama. It's all very easy for this judge, and he has no love interest either. The corruption that is shown in the drama may be real, of course, but it has been done plenty of times. The drama is adapted from the webtoon Judge Lee Han-young, written by Jean Dol and illustrated by Lee Hae-nal. It has 227 chapters and is not available in English online, but you can see the manga graphics and go through the chapters. Its latest installment was posted on 29th January 2026, just a few weeks ago. In China, currently airing is the comedy How Dare You, adapted from the web novel This Is Ridiculous, written by Shi Ying-jun. And its premise is that two people from the modern world are transported into a book as villains. I mean, they are supposed to be villains in this book, but they end up changing their destiny, fate, and character arc by doing good, saving people and the kingdom. They also fall in love, marry, etc., etc., all the while still being in the other world of a book. The heroine comes to believe that this is another dimension or alternate universe, and not just a book, because they have treaded far beyond the confines of the book's original trajectory and storyline. The heroine is from the year 2026 and is an unexceptional worker in an office. The hero is a boy from year 2016 and is still in high school. So the trope of older woman and teenage boy is used as well. Plus, as villains in the original book, their lives were short and insignificant, but since they changed everything, he lives as a good king, dies first, and goes back to being the high school boy from year 2016, armed with the knowledge that the love of his life, the one that he met in the book, is in his future. The heroine, meanwhile, lives on as the reigning queen in the book, in the end leaving everything to her son and roaming the earth, meeting friends old and new. She sees what she was able to build and accomplish with the male lead and without him, and then dies a natural death, at which point she's back in the modern world, year 2026, in the same subway train in which she fell asleep just a few seconds ago. And that's how the two star-crossed lovebirds meet in the present timeline. He's the lawyer for the production house that is making a drama on the book. She recognizes the rest of the cast as people she met in the novel's timeline. If you are watching the drama, you'll notice that there are some changes from the web novel early on. The male lead, for example, says he's a CEO in 2026, so when they go back, which they most definitely will, they'll be the same age and he most probably will be the owner of the company she works for, or CEO of the production company making the drama. But watching the first two episodes, all I could think was, why are these two people sticking around in this fake make-believe world when they can get out through some door to the present day at any time, or die to get back to the present day and start courting each other? Because I wanted to see their interactions as actual people in present day. What's the use of all that energy and maneuvers and ambitions in a fake place? This is the bit where such dramas lose me. Because why would anyone want to stay trapped in a make-believe world with a real person? So it's a no-watch for me. I've heard on online forums that Chinese censors actually ban productions from mentioning rebirth or past life or second life. That is, Janam Janam Ka Saath, as it is called in Indian movies, and Chinese productions are supposed to reference these kinds of elements as dreams, because a number of gullible, impressionable Chinese teenagers kill themselves, thinking they'll be transported back to some glorious time period that they actually belong to. I think everyone has heard of and watched the 2-season C-drama Joy of Life, adapted from the web novel Qing Yu Nian, written by Mao Ni, who wrote 826 chapters that was split into 7 volumes. The English translation available online has 746 chapters. The series diverges quite significantly from the source material, the main one being that the male lead is not reincarnated or transmigrated to the past from the future. He's from the present day, a college student telling an ancient story written as a graphic novel essay for a competition of a man born with 21st century memories. That's it. And sci-fi time travel portal mystery occurs in the story written by him as well. So they changed the story to fit in with the Chinese censors' requirements. Joy of Life's 3rd season is coming up. It's not that big a leap to imagine a teenager with brains still being developed would get influenced by online rhetoric or imagery. For example, China has seen a rise in internet and gaming addiction treatment centers and boot camps in recent years. These usually purport counseling and physical discipline to affect teenagers' habit and behavior. In fact, not just in China, but all over the world, internet gaming disorder is a very real thing. Depression, insomnia, and self-harm is on the rise. Just last year, a mother sued artificial intelligence company Character.AI for being responsible for her son's suicide. What happened? I'm reading from a story on this case posted on NBC's site. Quote, "For 10 months, her son had been in a virtual relationship with a fictional character powered by artificial intelligence, accessed through Character.AI platform. Character.AI users can interact with bots and design their own. The bots respond in writing or in human-like voices. She saw her son's conversations with Daenerys Targaryen, one of hundreds of companion bots Character.AI users can access. Its name references a Game of Thrones character. Their last conversation, she's saying, 'I miss you,' and he's saying, 'I miss you too.' He says, 'I promise I'll come home to you soon,' and she says, 'Yes, please find a way to come home to me soon.' And then he says, 'What if I told you I could come home right now?' And her response is, 'Please do, my sweet king.' Moments later, Garcia said her son walked into the bathroom and killed himself. Police photos obtained by the I-team show Sewell's, that's the boy, phone near where he was found. Garcia's lawsuit against Character.AI claims the company launched their product without adequate safety measures and with knowledge of potential dangers. She says Character.AI caused her late son's depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. A darker conversation came after Sewell told the bot he was sad and wanted to harm himself, his mother said. When Sewell talked and said explicitly that he wanted to die by suicide, nothing happened, like a pop-up or anything like that, she said. According to the lawsuit, the bot asked questions such as whether he had a plan. And when Sewell responded that he was considering something if it would allow him to have a pain-free death, the bot responded, "That's not a reason not to go through with it." These conversations about her waiting for him and hoping that he will join her where she's convinced Sewell that this was real. He believed that by killing himself, he would join her in her ultimate world, the mother said. Unquote. In 2014, in a certain place in America, 2 12-year-old girls lured their schoolmate, also 12, to a wooded area where they attempted to kill her as a sacrifice to a fictional supernatural character, Slender Man. They thought the killing would bring this featureless character to life. She thankfully survived. Though the girls were tried as adults, both were found not guilty by reason of insanity and were sentenced to years in psychiatric care in 2017 and 2018. One was supposed to be in a mental hospital for 25 years. She got released in 2021. The other one, who got 40 years in psychiatric care, was released under supervision to a group home, from where she escaped briefly in 2025, raising alarm bells, and was sent back to psychiatric care. Similarly, violent video games, films, and cartoons have long been seen as contributors of teenage violence. I am reading from Colin Blackstock's story dated 29th July 2004. Quote, "A 14-year-old boy was lured to a park by a 17-year-old where he was bludgeoned and stabbed to death with a knife and sledgehammer. The murdered boy's parents blamed a video game, Manhunt, for his murder, since the crime mimicked the gameplay. The mother of the dead teenager told Guardian newspaper that I think that I heard some of Warren's friends say that he was obsessed with this game. She said, to quote from the website that promotes it, it calls it a psychological experience, not a game, and it encourages brutal killing. If he was obsessed with it, it could well be that the boundaries for him became quite hazy." The father of the killed boy told the reporter that a police report showed that the 17-year-old had introduced his young son to the computer game and said that it and similar games should not be available to children. The way Warren committed the murder, this is how the game is set out. Killing people using weapons like hammers and knives. He said, "There is some connection between the game and what he has done. Games like this that influence kids should be taken off the streets completely." Stefan's parents' call for the game to be removed from sale is likely to reignite a long-running argument over the influence of video games and films. After the murder of James Bulger in 1993, now this is a case from UK, that is United Kingdom, there were various calls for the banning of video nasties. At the time, MPs called for certain films to be banned. There was a similar outcry after the Columbine school shooting, that was in America, when Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold murdered 12 students and a teacher and wounded 23 others before shooting themselves at the high school in Littleton, Colorado in April 1999. They were known to enjoy playing Doom, a game licensed by the US military to train soldiers to kill. Unquote. I know I've used some very dark news from around the world on impact of virtual or fantasy imagery on young minds. This is why the alternate reality universe trope of offering salted fish to master, a Chinese web novel written by Fu Hua, was diluted in its colorful 2025 adaptation when Destiny Brings the Demon, by indicating that whatever that happened in the course of the drama must have been a dream after all, when obviously it couldn't have been. It had to be a rebirth because the heroine met the hero when he was a demon, not a CEO. Now, the female lead in this drama is an overworked office worker who just wants a break, has no ambition, and is a happy-go-lucky girl. Meanwhile, everyone wants to kill or manipulate and exploit male lead's caged demon and use him as an energy source, all except her. And that's why he keeps her around. This thread carries them through the entire drama. She just wants to relax and eat and sleep. I liked Fu Hua's novel and looked forward to the Chen Faiyu and Wang Lingyu starrer in anticipation before it aired. It's supposed to be a fantasy romance. It's cute and fun. The kissing scenes are great. It's a good watch for 28 episodes before petering out in the last leg. The rushed ending where the couple meet in the present day, after spending 3 different eras in the demon world, leaves you craving for more interaction in the present day, despite 33 long episodes. I forwarded the last 3 just to get to that point, and then the ending was a big nothing burger. Even though I am not a fan of this trope, I understand why transmigration of soul or past life would be attractive as a genre. An ordinary person gets to live an adventurous life that tests their mettle, their strength, their perseverance in extraordinary circumstances, where everything is glamorous and treacherous and exotic than the dull, drab, normal, real life. And the person gets to be appreciated for his or her brains, looks, and actions. They get to be a larger-than-life hero or heroine, They don't think about their real-life profession, self-worth, or self-esteem. They also get the hottest, most eligible guy or girl without any effort. However, I think Love Between Lines uses this trope in a very intelligent and realistic manner. Instead of sending the couple to a far-off land as soul changers or shapeshifters or past-life crusaders, they simply get them in a virtual reality role-play murder mystery game for a meet-cute of a few hours, and then they go back to their day jobs, and that's where their story arcs, action, and character growth is. They find common interest in the field of architecture and work on projects together, so romance is a slow burn. Later on in the drama, this gameplay is used as a prop to show the progress of their connection in real life. Hence, virtual time travel or fake fantasy life is used as a tool to show their progress as a couple, but doesn't override real life and never becomes a substitute for real life challenges. I found out that there are plenty of virtual reality live action role-playing games operating in Shanghai and in other places around the world. There's a very good article written by Huang Wei that has been translated by David Ball and posted on Sixth Tone website on 30th December 2025. I'm reading a portion of it. Quote, "Virtual reality has proven less popular than American tech companies once hoped. Facebook rebranded to Meta with the expectation that everyone would be donning headsets to enter the metaverse. More than $70 billion in losses later, the company is changing strategy. Apple's Vision Pro also failed to gain traction. But in China, 2025 was the year VR saw explosive growth, not as headsets for people to use at home, but as interactive shows that allow participants to visit foreign landmarks, explore digital recreations of historical events, or enter the universe of their favorite animated movies. According to market analysis company IDC, China has become the core growth driver of what it expects to be a $12 billion global market this year. The Chinese boom in this kind of immersive experiences, also called location-based entertainment virtual reality or LBE VR, started with The Lost Pharaoh. In it, users can explore ancient Egyptian ruins like the Great Pyramid of Giza and witness the burial ceremony of a pharaoh. After the show opened in Paris in 2022 as Horizon of Khufu, Journey in Ancient Egypt, it launched inside a Shanghai mall in May of 2023. It received more than 100,000 visitors over a 10-month period and also drew crowds when it subsequently toured other Chinese cities. So far, the earnings from the Chinese market have accounted for almost half of the experience's total global revenue. As with other such shows, visitors don a VR headset and are free to walk inside a giant and mostly empty room. As people roam around to explore the story, other participants are also displayed inside the headset to avoid collisions. The success of The Lost Pharaoh kick-started a craze for LBE VR experiences in China. International projects that have since opened in China allow participants to visit places such as Paris's Notre Dame or Spain's Prado Museum, explore the wreck of the Titanic, and even return to the streets of 19th century Paris to visit an art exhibition together with impressionist painters. A wide range of domestic institutions and companies, including tourism sites, museums, and game developers, are also getting in on the act by developing their own VR experiences. Many Chinese film festivals have now added sections dedicated to VR or XR productions, the latter an umbrella term that stands for extended reality. Since this October, I have attended, now this is Huang Wei. She's saying that she has attended the 4th Golden Rooster XR Showcase, the 2025 Xi'an International Virtual Reality Film Week, and the 9th Shanghai International Film Special Effects Innovation Forum. By my count, more than 200 domestically produced VR experiences have been rolled out nationwide. Tickets are typically priced around 100 yuan, that is 14 US dollars, and the shows usually last 30 to 45 minutes. Most of these projects focus on Chinese cultural heritage, including ancient mythology, imperial dynasties such as the powerful Qin that existed from 2021 to 206 BC, and the prosperous Tang that existed from 618 to 907 BC, and a variety of historical sites and buildings. Other popular themes include natural history. Dinosaurs have proven a summer vacation hit among teenagers, and sci-fi and space. These often integrate space exploration, lunar missions, and adventure battles. Unquote. Huang Mei goes on to write that quote, the immersive quality of many productions remains limited. Ideally, location-based entertainment virtual reality experiences should integrate technologies that can minutely track participants' real-time movements to allow for interactions with the virtual world and multi-person collaborations. However, most VR experiences in China still have a limited understanding of interactive concepts to take full advantage of the medium's potential, preventing people from becoming fully immersed. Unquote. So Love Between Lines combines a trending consumer-driven virtual extended reality dimension of Shanghai and China, the location-based entertainment virtual reality or LBE VR experience. Plus, the male lead is an architect who designs the game's structure matrix, and his work enhances the VR experience for not just the players, but for us, the viewers as well, because it's a major plot point in the drama. All of this is weaved into the drama as a plot point and a prop, and I liked it. It made sense to me. The drama is shot beautifully, and it reminded me of those cozy South Korean romances with great background musics and original soundtracks that seem to have disappeared from that country. Well, at least nothing stood out last year. Love Between Lines has very good songs. My favorites are Start Over, sung by Jin Wen-chi, Closer, sung by Baby J, Special Night, sung by Wei Lian, and An Expectation Named You, sung by Yan Renzhong, as well as At Dusk, sung by Fang Dong Dimao. I think Lu Yu Xiao is a brilliant actress with long-term potential. She looks a bit like South Korean actress Kim Tae-ri. I first saw her in the 2023 drama My Journey to You, where she was paired with and in the tub with Ryan Cheng and had a side role. She was excellent in 2024's Blossoms in Adversity, in which she played another side character. Here she's the female lead, and very good as the female lead. She looks gorgeous, vulnerable, feisty, smart, and emotes like a real person. This Hu Xiu had to give up her dream of studying architecture at university level because her father was ill and money was needed for his recovery. So she got a job as an administrative assistant in an architecture firm. But she continues to study architecture privately, that is, in her free time, and doesn't let go of her passion and dreams. I did not like her parents in the drama. There's a fine line between being overprotective and being overbearing. And unfortunately, you'll see such parents in real life more often than not, who put their own kids down for selfish reasons, or because they don't believe in their kids. Her parents have used her all her life, and have always meddled in her life. When she takes a risk and wants to try for an entry-level job working as a graphic designer for an architectural firm, her parents discourage her on the pretext that she has a safe future as a secretary or manager. Now I get that. That is something that any parent would say to their child. But the parents have lived off this girl for 5, 6, 7 years now. What more do they want from her? Even at the end, when she wants to be with the male lead, her parents, especially her father, wants her to break up with him because of their family's past history with the male lead's father. I mean, this South Korean makjang, Chinese and Japanese over-the-top noble idiocy expectation from children is a headache to watch. I just did not like her parents. Moving on. It's also refreshing to see the young woman, that is, the female lead, Hu Xiu, as having a fiancé before she meets the male lead, instead of the puritanical tropes usually used in Chinese and South Korean romance dramas, where no one has dated anyone ever, certainly not the girl. Of course, the fiancé quickly turns to ex-fiancé because he dumps her right before the wedding to snag an heiress. In this drama, the journey is more about the female lead and her growth than the male lead and his growth, in my opinion, though there are some interesting elements given to the male lead's character arc as well. For example, his mother remarried after his father's death. There's a whole lot of Hamlet happening in his storyline, but the unique thing was that he was disconnected from his own mother and vice versa. The mother's husband's son, the male lead's love rival and work rival, is closer to her than her own son. He knows what she likes in food and likes in gifts than the male lead. So that was a nice touch to show a blended broken family with secrets and resentments bubbling beneath the surface in spite of all the wealth, health and privilege. And two boys who had a different upbringing, one choosing to embrace his stepmother and the other choosing to reject his biological mother. The other thing was the fact that male lead's father had been an engineer who got blamed for the collapse of the stadium. And so, since the son chose a similar profession, building stuff and all, he used a fake name to further his career, to not get marginalized or blacklisted because of his father's reputation. In one aspect, you can say that he could only live out his real name on the sets of virtual reality location-based entertainment, a world that was created by him, that he helped design. And I think that was a nice touch too, because it added layers to his arc that his expressions didn't. The drama in its story is nothing new, minus the LBE VR and nice production frames and shots and great music. All of the generic tropes and eye-candy moments we are used to seeing in Asian dramas are still there. So it's nothing new, but it's well done. And that has made all the difference.